welcome, folks, to another edition of Prairie Talk with Blades and Mayo. I am Shane Blades.
And I am Craig Mayo. That's right.
That's right.
Let us give you our email address before the show gets going. That's right. prairietalktv@aol.com, because
we want to hear from you.
You make it happen.
You do. You make it happen. I'll tell you what, the support we get, the feedback, literally just day after day, we sort through them, and we just, it's a pleasure reading your email. God bless you, and God bless Little House on the Prairie.
Because it makes us feel like we're doing something for people and society.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, because other than that, it'd just be, some people say just a stupid show, but you guys don't make it stupid. You know what I mean? You guys make it legitimate, and that's what keeps us going.
See the Little House on the Prairie board game.
Mm-hmm.
And what we want to do is email us and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. I want to play that game, and whoever wins, they get to come down and play the game with us.
Mm-hmm. That's right. They get to come down here and meet the old Shanester and the Craigster. Maybe sign a couple John Hancocks for you. Got to have some headshots laying around. Maybe you'd like them. It gives us a chance to meet us and realize that we're just real people like you. You know what I mean? And it gives you a chance to go out there and play the official Little House on the Prairie board game, which everybody's excited about.
And it'll give you a chance to be on the show too, because we're gonna tape the game playing and just let everybody see all the fun that we had with this game.
You too could be a superstar. Think about that for a second, huh? How would that change your life?
Yeah.
What we want to accomplish with this show is a little banter back and forth between me and you. We're going to talk about the Little House characters, and each of the main characters in particular, what they brought to the show and what their morals were. And I'm really excited about that. What about you, Craig?
Yeah, this is a big show because there's so many characters that once again, this could be a two-part series, kind of like another show or something,
but two-parter.
The old little House two-parter. But yes, we're going to discuss the characters, and I can feel each character has their own part in the Little House world.
How right that is, Craig. How right that is.
So let's get started.
I'll tell you what, Craig. What did you feel about the Doc Baker character?
Doc Baker was absolutely amazing. He personifies, just always being there,
Mm-hmm.
And even though he wasn't in every episode, he always had his credit though as a guest star in the beginning there,
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to think of because there was I remember the episode. It was the episode where he felt that he wasn't good enough. That's when that was one of those episodes where he was the star of the episode.
Right.
It was when the special guest star becomes the center character.
What an actor. What an actor he was. And I remember the episode specifically because he, kind of lost hope in his abilities. Next thing you know, another doc comes in there, don't give a crapola about anybody in the town, and he's like, you know what, these people need better. So he gets back in his little doctor uniform, and he goes up there and he helps people,
Yeah, and he's that family doctor that just knows everybody and wants to help. And I also remember that other episode. There's a dark side of Doc Baker too, and it had to deal with race, and it was a very good episode because you would think Doc Baker and it would be like a man who loved everybody,
right.
But yet he had this dark side when Dr. LeBeau came to town.
Yes.
And although he played like it was no big deal, he really didn't like having the black doctor.
No, he was a little bit snippety about that.
Yeah. And he confessed to the church at the end, and it became a good ending, and he grew from the experience.
He did.
But it also brought out important issues that we do have in our society, and through Doc Baker, we all learn.
With all the education the man obviously had to become a doctor.
I would say he was one of the most educated men in the town.
In the town, if not the most educated.
More than the Olsons, I'd even say.
Yet, at the end of that episode, he learned a lesson himself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't too smart not to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
And he confessed in front of the whole church congregation.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Conversation.
Because that would be because the church conversation. He's discussing. No, he was laying it out.
Getting it out. Absolutely.
He was just a magnificent character.
Moral of Doc Baker to the audience, please.
The moral of Doc Baker? I would say Doc Baker is a man who's always there.
Well put, my man. Well put.
Thank you.
Well put.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Now, enough about me and my Doc Baker.
Okay.
How about you? You and your Mrs. Olson.
Oh,
yeah.
Good one. Good one. You started things out on a edgy note.
Yeah.
Right there, for me. Mrs. Olson, what do I get from her? What do I take from her characterization? You know what? Let's face it. The girl was a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Right? She was spoiled. She treated her husband like crap. She thought she was a lot more wealthy than she actually was.
And you don't understand why Nels would stay.
No.
It's just
Why does it come from? Was it the sex? Was it the... No, it wasn't the sex.
No,
Couldn't
I
have
don't
been the
think
sex.
so.
Did you see that body?
No, I don't. Ooh.
Yeah, you wondered why she did stay. The thing of it is, I think deep down she may have had a good side. And back, like before, we don't even see this. Like maybe like in the early 1800s when, before the show was, when they first met, she might have been a sweetheart, right? And then like she maybe had a best friend that was like rich and uppity and always made her feel like crap, So when she got married, she wanted to prove to everybody that she herself was in the upper class and not the lower class.
Yeah, she's always feeling like she has to prove something. Yeah.
Like all of us in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I like her. Granted, she was a pain in the ass, but God bless her, she was always trying to prove herself. And sometimes she actually did. Sometimes she actually didn't. But you know what the thing of it is? When people really needed her, she was there, with the exception of when Nels got kidnapped and she refused to pay over the ransom.
Yeah, but and that's true. She was always there ready to sell somebody something,
Yeah, she was. She used to sell Laura a lot of them jawbreakers and little candies. And,
yeah. Give me some. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nels, let him have some candy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, Harriet. That candy is bad, and don't let the kids have some candy.
Yeah, and then like Nellie and everybody just be chowing down on just like free candy.
And she always overruled.
She did, and God bless Nels. Love the character, love the guy, but he took too much from her.
I think they actually did a couple episodes because I think as viewers you would think like, why do these people stay together? And they actually did a couple of episodes where they actually got in a fight, and one was where Nels goes off and to a bed and breakfast in the next town over.
And little hanky-panky action with...
meet Molly Malone. Molly... We'll call her Molly.
Okay, if you guys know, Prairie Talk TV at AOL.com, give us the answer. Who did Nels hook up with in the bed and breakfast in the other town?
Yes. Help us out.
Yeah, but you know what? Speaking of episodes, there was the episode when there was a plague going through town.
Yes.
And Nels was one of the people that got affected by the plague. And he was getting ready to, say sayonara, and go up to the other world. And
he was actually like one of the stars that he was like, is he going to die?
Yeah, you figure. And who was by his side the whole time?
Harriet.
Who was praying?
Harriet.
Who was crying?
Harriet. Who was Harriet?
Harriet.
Harriet.
Who gave him soup?
Harriet.
Who wiped his ass?
Harriet.
Because he couldn't do it. He was sick.
I know. It was like, because you always think like, okay, he's the star. He's not going to die because he's... But you were actually like...
Nels,
Yeah. Like, how would you get along with Nels? And he survived.
He survived.
And Harriet was there.
Moral of the story to me, moral of Harriet Olson. To prove yourself is unlike not having to prove yourself. Think about it.
And what we kind of covered Harriet and Nels in this thing.
We did.
And my moral of Nels is, I would say he was a pussycat. But he was the biggest pussycat in the cage, He kind of put up with everything,
Uh-huh.
And he had a heart. And
Okay, listen.
Okay.
We've covered Doc Baker. We've covered the Olsons.
Yes.
At least Nels and Harriet. My turn to you again, Mrs. Ingalls.
Hey, now she is fine.
She is.
She's a good-looking woman. When they picked her, it was a good pick.
You damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, Ma. She's Ma, and she's always there for the kids. And it's, you know, it's a very traditional role, but of course that's the way it was back in those days. And she is a great example of, like, because now it's not so traditional, but just the values of family and how she loves. I would say she is full of love, you know?
Oh, yeah. And just a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a beautiful human being.
Exactly. And I just recently finished watching the premiere movie, and it's just funny to see their relationship in the very first episode when they're just trying to, you know, it's almost like they're newly married.
Newlyweds.
Yeah.
Newlyweds.
Even
they're
though,
going to argue.
Yeah. Even though they've been married 10 years or whatever, but they're almost like newlyweds in this first movie.
Right.
And it's just interesting to see how, like, she's a bit more stern with the kids. You know, she hasn't quite learned the love yet.
Right.
But by episode 1, love.
Love conquers all.
Exactly.
Love conquers all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, good thing she just overcame it all, and so what would my moral be for Ma? It would be like, my moral would be that Ma is full of love towards the kids. She was caring, nurturing, and was always there to help out everybody.
Yes. Couldn't agree with you more.
Wow.
Couldn't agree with you more. Well put, my man. Good job.
So
Chicks love it.
Yes. Well, I want to move on to another character.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Do I go with one of the teachers? Do I go with the blacksmith? Do I go with some other guy who just showed up in a couple episodes?
No, we're doing main characters.
Main characters.
Main characters.
Almanzo.
You hit me with a rough one. You did. It's funny about Almanzo, he really didn't become a main character till later on.
Yeah. But he had a few seasons, though.
He did. Yeah. He did before him and Laura actually had sex.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Almanzo. Here's what I think. Here you got a big, strong guy. You know, I'm not homo, but he was a good-looking guy. You know what I mean?
Better looking than that Johnny Johnston.
Or Percival. Think of it was. He had this big, strong guy, you know, blonde hair or whatever. He could have been a real prick. He could have been a real ass, you know what I'm saying? Been stuck up like, oh, I don't need you. I don't want to talk to you. Guy had a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Guy had a heart of gold. He was a farm boy. It reminded me, here's what I like about him. He reminded me of a younger Charles. A younger Charles. In the sense that he was a very hard worker. He has strong morals. Seemed to come from a, you know, it was kind of hard growing up for him, you know, but him and his sister managed. And, you know, we all know what his sister did. She went on to become a teacher at Walnut Grove School.
She did a lot for him so that they would get married.
Exactly.
She gave up her career almost.
She actually lied and said she was going to marry some other guy in another city just so she can move out so Laura and Almanzo can move in the house and be together alone.
Just so happens she marries the guy from Babe.
Babe, yeah.
That guy. Ian?
Oh, gosh. What? Cromwell. James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
Yeah. Yeah, and he lies about that. You know, and they all find out at the end, but then they have a nice little speech, right? And like, you know, Almanzo could have been like, oh, you lied to me, sister. Oh, you lied to me. I don't like you no more. You can get out of my life. But she's like, you know what, Almanzo? I moved out so you and Laura could have a future together. You don't need me no more. We're just going to get in each other's way. And he took her by the shoulder and said, you know what, sis? I'll never forget this. He said, you're right. He accepted it right there. And so, you know, I could say a lot about Almanzo, but I think I want to sum it up. The moral of Almanzo is happy.
Yeah.
He was a happy guy. He brought happiness to other people. He brought happiness to Laura. Happiness plus happiness plus happiness equals
happiness.
Happy.
Happy. I mean, Laura brought him a lot of pain there in a few episodes, but he always stayed grounded
because
he was happy.
All right.
All right.
Ooh, I had to dig down deep for that one. Oh. You know what? Screw this, because I know we're both saving it for each other, but little guy, you might have heard of him. His name is Charles Ingalls.
Oh, Charles Ingalls.
Yeah.
Charles
in charge.
Charles in Ingalls.
There he is, Charles in charge of Walnut Grove, at least.
Yes, he was stout, like a good beer, you know. Yeah, just
yeah.
Nobody could turn a wheel like him. Nobody could plow a field. He didn't even need an ox almost. You know,
he was strong.
He overcame it right in the. Well, I go back to the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
He made a house. He made a barn. He made an outhouse. That was kind of funny just seeing as they panic. There's an outhouse in the background.
Yeah, I remember that. That's where he went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is just funny. He built all that. And he was just always overcoming, and he always had a good speech too.
Always.
Mr. Brady wasn't the only one who gave good speeches. I think Brady watched Ingalls.
True dat.
Yeah.
Talk about his emotion, if you know what I mean.
Oh. It kind of relates to the moral. But there wasn't an episode when he wouldn't cry. It's like Charles is crying.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
And it's just like, because something always happens.
Yeah.
And, they had a very dramatic life, and it's just anytime the camera was on that family, something was happening, And
they were not only tears of sadness, they were tears of joy. And that's why we love him, because he was able to break out of that manly Charles Ingalls, and he was able to break out of that and become this loving, caring person who was not afraid to show his emotions to his family and friends.
And it's also funny, too, because I digress to the movie, the premiere movie, where it was almost like they were still getting to know each other, and he was more stern, he was more like gruff, he had a love, but I guess he was too busy moving west, so he kind of had a lot on his mind.
He did. He had a full plate.
But come episode 1, he was there. He was crying.
Absolutely.
Well, he was there to help everybody.
Absolutely.
So he was the moral of what do you want me to give him the moral now of let me sum up Charles. I would say Charles, he was always there. He was always ready to help somebody to make things right. He was a good father, and he was happy too. But that's more Almanzo.
Right. Good sum up, man.
Yeah.
Good moral, good sum up, good everything.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Thanks, man.
That was a big one. I was afraid to give it to you, but you took it and ran with it.
It's like we could talk for a whole episode on Charles, but
we only get a half hour.
Yeah. And today is character days. So let me think of someone for you now. I want, because there's the Ingalls and the Olsons, they're the main ones, but someone who comes and goes, but yet still a main character is Reverend Alden.
The good old Reverend. That's what I like to refer him to, Matt. Again, I could spend a whole hour talking about this guy. The morals, just the kind of man he was is the kind of man I've tried to be in my life. I've tried to take myself and emulate what he's done to the people in that show. Whenever there was a big problem, who'd they go to?
The Reverend.
What'd the Reverend do?
He usually brought everybody together and said, let's fix the problem.
Exactly. He usually had the best ideas to fix a problem.
The Reverend.
Absolutely. When people needed spiritual guidance, who'd they go to?
The Reverend.
When people needed
medicine. Fish. What did you say?
Fish.
Fish.
Who'd they go to?
The Reverend.
Yeah.
He had a church and a lot of pews there.
Yeah, and he liked to fish.
Yeah.
If people needed clothes, who'd they go to? They went to the Reverend.
Yeah.
Right? And why did they go to Reverend? Because, he was guided by the big man himself. And he always had a helping hand. He always lended great advice. And I love the Reverend. And I think he was a key aspect of the show. I think he made it I think he made it better every time he was on it. Granted, he wasn't on every episode, but the episodes he was on, he was powerful.
He added a lot of guidance, I would say,
Absolutely.
to the townspeople.
His spiritual guidance just made them better as people, I think, and it brought everybody together. I mean, I can think of times when he even bring the Olsons and the Ingalls together, just through his words. You know what I'm talking about?
And yeah, and he was full of like, did I say guidance already?
Yeah.
Yeah, guidance. He's people always listened to him.
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah, and they took his word. It
was like he was like a father figure to all.
Yes.
And everybody looked up to him.
Yes.
Moral. Here we go. Moral to the Reverend. Do unto others as others would do unto you.
It's a good way to say it.
Thank you.
It's an excellent way to say it.
Think about it.
Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
All right, here we go.
Okay. I can hardly wait.
Might have heard of this person. Might have heard of this person.
I've
Craig.
seen all the episodes.
It's a little girl called Laura Ingalls.
Oh, the big one. That's another episode following the Charles episode.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of an episode she wasn't in. Can't think of one.
No, I can't either. Right? Well,
There was one I know,
yeah,
but
there's a couple actually.
but it's just a, you know, you think of like, okay, it's that episode, but then you're thinking, well, did she like show up in the beginning and then go off on vacation, so then she made like a little appearance, you know?
Right.
But there was episodes I know where like you never see her, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're having a town meeting, and there she is sitting in the pew.
Yeah.
And you can't count that because she's in the episode.
She's in the episode, right? There wasn't too many, but we're going to do some research. For those of you out there, if you can think of any episodes that Laura was not in, please email us. Again, it's prairietalktv@aol.com. Please spell Prairie, P-R-A-I-R-I-E.
That's right. So Laura, when I think of Laura, I think of physical education. You know?
I know what you're talking. I know where you're getting at.
She was in shape.
That's
I mean,
right.
if she wasn't like panning for gold, wrestling in the mud, searching for clues, she was running around. You know
And
what
around, and around, and around.
Exactly. And it was just like, Laura, take a little breather. Have a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know?
Have a Coke and a sandwich and calm down,
Yeah.
young lady.
And she was just like, always like, she was in the mud. She was, you know, chasing after Jack or Bandit or you know, just helping out the towns. You know, she was also full of love. She had a big heart. That's
did.
why I think she like was.
And she had some big teeth.
Oh yes.
Oh, that was a crack. But listen, in later episodes, they got better.
I know, but it brings up the point again. Like, she could only put braces on in the off season. So I'm thinking,
Right.
you can't keep them on for 2 years straight. It's
No.
like 6 months, six
Yeah.
months, six. It drags it out a
Listen,
little
they
bit.
had crooked teeth back then.
Yeah.
You know.
So-
yeah.
She was all good.
Right.
In that, yeah, I mean, she didn't stand out to the townspeople, but, you know, when us 20th century people are looking upon the, you know, the 18th century, you go, hey, look at that.
Hey,
you know, looking a little English there, you know?
Yeah. Instead of a box of Colgate or something, you know, brush those choppers. Snaggle tooth bastard.
Send him a Sonic Care toothbrush, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, where would they plug it in? Well,
Yeah, well, they could still use it, but just not the mechanical.
maybe gas powered or something. I don't know.
Well, it could.
It would be a
It
big
depends.
old thing.
Yeah. All right, well, what's the moral? Laura?
But Laura, yeah, she was just the moral of Laura. What was Laura about? She was, I would say, she was full of heart, and that's what drove her to be so physical. She wears me out when I watch that episode.
I'm sure she does.
Oh.
This isn't when she was older, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, to wrap it up, the moral of Mary. Just because life may bring you down, take your frown and turn it upside down. Think about it.
I think I've heard that somewhere before.
No, you didn't. I just made it up.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm positive I've heard that.
No, you haven't. I made it up.
No, you did. You sure?
Craig, I made it up.
Okay.
I don't want to hear no more of it. I made it up.
Okay.
I made it up. Don't make me make up another one and take up time.
Okay.
I made it up.
I don't know. It just sounds kind of familiar from...
Listen. Shut up. I made it up.
Okay. All right. Well, let's end on a happy note. Almanzo.
Hey! Doc Baker.
Oh.
Laura's teeth in the early episodes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a great show.
It has
talking
been.
about the characters of Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, it has.
I mean, it's almost like these were the main characters, but another interesting part, which we'll have to get into later, possibly, is those small characters. You know, those pivotal small characters that did make a change on Little House.
We will do the day player characters eventually.
Yeah.
Until
then, I'm Craig Mayo.
And I'm Shane Blades.
And thank you for tuning in to Prairie Talk. And remember to email us at prairietalktv@aol.com. So have a good day, and remember, it's Prairie Talk time all the time, especially on KCAL Channel 5 at 12 o'clock high noon.
That's right. And that's not our show. That's the actual Little House. They wouldn't put us on the network. So until, folks, until then,
good times
and good friends.
Hey guys, you heard of Little House on the Prairie? We're looking for the books.
Little what?
Little House on the Prairie. The show. We're looking for the books.
Are you guys from Jackass?
Jackass, we're from Prairie Talk. Wait, what the hell's that all? Prairie Talk. Prairie Talk. Prairie Talk. Watch. It's a new show, right? Damn kids.